It's Mental Health Chat Monday, the new and improved version, honey. On this series, we sit down with a brand new guest every week to discuss their journey with mental health and mental wellness. Because on Mental Health Chat Monday, our motto is turning mental illness into mental wellness. I am your host, DDare Bionic. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you would like to know more about me, all of my links are down below, obviously, as always. But I am not the reason we are here. We are here to talk to this wonderful human sitting next to me, a very good friend of mine, former chef, but still a really, really good cook. Phil is here today. Phil, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, you know, I am just peachy keen. It was my off day. I went to the chiropractor today. Let me tell you, if y'all ain't never been to a chiropractor, go to the chiropractor, because Dr. B get me right every time.
I'm thinking about it. I'm sitting here thinking about how much my back hurts right now, actually.
Look, before I went, my back was so tight, and he just like I've been going for my leg when I fell down the stairs.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, I fell down the stairs at work. It's funny, whatever, laugh at me. But I really fucked my knee up real bad, and he felt around and was like, "Oh, I think it's your lower back," and snapped me, and I was like, "Oh shit."
I mean, to be fair, those stairs have gotten a lot of people. Got me a few times.
I'm surprised it took me that long. That was my first time falling down those stairs, and I've been there 6 years.
Yeah, I couldn't have made it that long. I mean, I didn't. I made it probably about 6 weeks before I fell down them the first time.
All right. That's still good.
I'm clumsy as shit, so that actually is pretty impressive.
Fair enough. So, introduce yourself to the people. Let everybody know how we know each other, what your life is about, a little bit of your backstory. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I met Darius at the Blue Duck.
Quack, quack. I designed this shirt, by the way.
That's actually why I wore it. But yeah, I met Darius working at the Blue Duck. I started as just a line cook, and fairly quickly went up to the exec chef, and recently left that for That's all, folks.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.
Where was I?
Agriculture.
Yeah. So I recently moved into agriculture for mental health reasons, and spend more time with my wife and our pets. Which I don't know if did you see that picture I sent you?
Yes, I did. I did see that picture, and I opened it. I feel like we were in the middle of the rush or something. I opened it and I was like, "Oh, that's so funny!" And I was typing a reply and put my phone back in my pocket because the tick machine started going off.
Yeah, that's fair. That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's at Twyla. We've actually been fostering her with 10th Life, and Corey and I have decided that she's not going anywhere.
So that's what, 3 animals now?
That's 3 cats, and
you have 2 other cats already?
Yeah, and we also we also have a dog, and our other dog just recently passed away back December 22nd.
Oh shit!
So
I'm sorry to hear that.
That was He was 14 years old. He had a long life. Mm-hmm. For a farm dog from Kansas, he saw a whole hell of a lot. That dog saw more than most people do. He saw the beaches in South Carolina, the mountains in North Carolina.
So you had him his whole life.
Oh
basically.
Yeah. We got him. He was. I always wanted a pit bull, and
I love pit bulls.
He was the runt.
Mm-hmm.
And the breeder just wanted him gone. Didn't really care how they got rid of him, so we got him for $75, and he we were driving home that day. He threw up in the back seat of the car, and I almost took him right back.
Can I have my $75 back?
This was a bad idea.
My dad had a pit bull when I was growing up. and his name was Morton. I loved that dog. Pit bulls are such sweet dogs.
They really are.
They really, really are. And I wish people would like shut the fuck up about them being killers or animal like beasts. Like they are very, very, especially when trained properly.
Oh yeah.
Of course, if you make a dog vicious, it's gonna be vicious. But if you train a dog to be sweet and kind and loving, it's gonna be sweet and kind and loving. And Morton was a very sweet puppy.
All right. No, pit bulls are great. Mm-hmm. They are way better than kids.
Yes.
I'm not gonna make the joke that I was about to. That would be kind of fucked up.
Okay, so moving forward, I like to start these episodes with the same question for everybody. Mental health check. How is your mental health today? How has 2023? It is February 2nd as of today.
Yes.
How has the year been treating you?
Happy birthday to
Happy birthday.
Good. Yeah. No, everything's great. I actually had my therapy appointment on Tuesday, and I mentioned to him that I'm honestly like genuinely happy for the first time in a long, long time.
I love that.
It's been great so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just honestly having more time off, having nights and weekends off to spend with Corey has been just life changing. It seems silly to realize how little we actually saw each other.
Yeah.
With her working bank hours and me working restaurant hours.
Yep.
Our paths just never really crossed. Except for my Sundays, my days off.
Yeah. I have a very similar, like, kind of issue. Not necessarily issue, but, like, a very similar feeling about it. My partner works mornings. Ronnie works, Monday to Friday mornings. And restaurant hours, so I usually am working at night. Thankfully, now I've kind of, like, gotten a few guaranteed nights off to where I can be at home and, like, make dinner for us and hang out and watch the shows we want to watch and, talk, like actually catch up. But it really does, you really don't realize how much having a partner, having somebody in your life and not seeing them, especially when you love them so much, affects your mental health.
Oh yeah, it's a huge, I hate to say it, but downer.
Yeah, but it is. It really is.
It's not exciting. Like it really a lot of times feels like just strangers passing in the hallway. Like a lot of times I'd get home so late, like I don't even want to go get in bed. I'm just gonna go sit on the couch and see what happens.
Yeah.
And just because I don't want to wake her up.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that, and one of these days we'll all be able to actually have time with our partners. So talk to me a little bit about any mental illness diagnoses you've received over the years, if you're comfortable.
Oh yeah, so anxiety and PTSD. Mm-hmm. Anxiety that didn't really bother me. That's kind of I'm anyone who's ever seen me sit in a chair for 3 seconds can see I'm anxious as fuck. Mm-hmm. But no, PTSD, that one fucked with me.
Yeah,
it really did. I'm a veteran. I was in the Air Force. My brother is also a veteran. He was in the Army. So my brother also has PTSD. And
I feel like that's a product of the military.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't unsee some things, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But no, like that's kind of what fucked with me about it, though. It's like my brother being in the Army, he actually saw combat. He saw shit that no one should ever have to see, and I don't know. In my head, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like that's not. I went to war, but I went to war in the Air Force.
So talk to me a little bit about the difference between, I guess the branches of the military, or like how I don't know how the military works, really, to be completely honest. My dad was a Marine, but like, to me, they're words in the ether. I never had any desire to go to the military. So
that's fair. So the Army and the Air Force are they were at one time, the Air Force was the Army Air Corps, and it branched off and became the Air Force. The Air Force, the Army rather, is kind of they're kind of the ground forces. Then you've got the Air Force, that their name's kind of self-explanatory.
Flying high in the sky.
And then you've got the Navy, that they're the boats in the oceans, and the Marines are kind of the crazy assholes that go in before everybody else.
That checks out. That checks out.
Kind of oversimplifies shit, but
I mean, it makes sense to me. I'm sure everybody out there it will make sense to them who don't understand the military. Like, just all of the people that I know that have been to the military have, most of my experience is with the Marines. I don't know that I know very many people who were in the other branches of the Army, but I know a lot of my relatives, a lot of my family, especially the men in my family, went to the Marines. It was like kind of like a thing. And there is such a, I guess PTSD, a trauma that is just so ingrained in being in the military. Can you talk to me a little bit about how your time in the military informed any trauma that you might have, or your PTSD?
There are specific things that I'd rather not get into.
Of course. No, yeah.
Like I said, just overall, you kind of you see shit that you really shouldn't have to. Like I said, I guess you feel you see things that just you really, that nobody really should. In my case, I didn't really do anything that like, I don't have any kind of regrets that way. Like I know the overarching impact of what I did, but like, at the end of the day, I was a mechanic. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's kind of how I keep a clear conscience about it.
I can't imagine having to I guess live with that, especially if you've seen active duty. I can't imagine having to live with what happens in war, and it scares me. It really, like, kind of terrifies me to think about having to live with that.
The only thing I can really say about that is a dark sense of humor. Gallows humor. It's a wonderful thing. I mean, you've heard most of my jokes.
We relate on the dark sense of humor a lot. Yeah.
No, gallows humor is a wonderful thing. It really is. It helps you. It really does help you work through trauma, whether people like to admit it or not.
You know what they say, laughter is the best medicine.
Right?
I truly, fully believe that. So, you talked about PTSD. How and anxiety, how do those things affect the way you handle relationships, like work relationships, your relationship with your wife, your relationship with your family?
So, I mean, the anxiety... So the anxiety is kind of at war with fucking ADHD, right? So I have this thing where I want to keep in touch with people, but I'm terrible about keeping in touch with people, because out of sight, out of mind. My family doesn't live here. Doesn't live near me. They live 12 hours away. So like, I don't see them all the time. So like, I just doesn't register that they exist.
No object permanence.
Right. And then I'll see them and I'm like, oh yeah, I miss you guys. And
oh yeah,
you exist, and that's awesome.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's so funny. Oh right, I do have a family. Sweet.
I mean, that's kind of how it is, though.
That's great.
Beyond that, I've had experiences in the past where I tend to keep work relationships at work. Mm-hmm. Versus, I tend to, like I said, I just tend to keep my work at work and my home at home as much as possible.
Yeah. Which
doesn't always work out. But, I mean, as far as with my wife, that's actually something that, something we've actually been able to bond over in a really fucked up way. We've been able to bond over our mental illness.
I mean, I think I said this in it's either the last episode or the first episode. Everybody's mentally ill at this point.
I mean, really, yeah.
Nobody's getting away scot-free.
Yes, I mean she was diagnosed a long time ago with bipolar disorder, anxiety, and depression, and yeah,
come boom.
I've had the anxiety and shit for a while. I mean, at least since I was a teenager, if I could put my finger on it, you know?
Yep.
But
that's definitely when mine started. I can pinpoint the exact moment. I know the exact moment. I can't tell you the date and time, but I know the exact moment it happened. So, oof.
Yeah, no, it does. It starts early. Because it's almost little voices in your fucking head.
Yeah. It is. They whisper at you. They're like, you ain't shit. You ain't gonna never be shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, great, cool. So 15 on pump 12. No matter where you are, they always are calling out to you. And ugh.
But yeah, I mean, as far we've that's something something I would say that I also have in common with a lot of my coworkers that I really have bonded with. It's kind of been over mental health, and I'm not going to say any names other than obviously, but
everybody's favorite depressed baddie.
But it's kind of been what people that I have bonded with at work over the years. That's more or less been the reason that it's happened. Like, oh, I see what they're going through. Like, maybe I can fucking say something and maybe help them, or maybe just look like an asshole. Either way, it's better than fucking not doing anything, right?
And it's nice to, especially at work, and like you said, we met working in a restaurant. Restaurants are so stressful, and there are so many triggers in restaurants. For me, not as much as it used to be, but there are so many things in a restaurant that can just set you into a downward spiral really quickly.
Oh yeah.
And it's nice to have a tribe of people in the queer community. We call it your chosen family. But it's nice to have a tribe of people that you can go to and be like, hey, I'm having a shit day and this is where I'm at. And I remember us having many conversations, just if one of us was having a bad day, be like, we can't joke that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's, you need to, especially as coworkers, you need to know your limits. We both know I joke a certain way. I'm kind of an asshole.
It's one of my favorite things about you.
But you got to know your limits. If somebody's having a bad day, they're having a bad anxiety day, and your little comments, you're just the little snide remarks that you make, joking back and forth to each other that normally wouldn't bother somebody, might get you jacked in the fucking jaw.
Yep.
So,
yep.
It's good to especially know to know you can say, hey, fuck off, dude.
Yeah, and not be offended. It really is. That's one thing I like about the place that we worked. Outside of all the bullshit that happens in restaurants, because there's always gonna be bullshit, no matter where it is. There was a familial energy to that particular restaurant, and I feel like we all were able to kind of talk to each other in a very particular way that I've not talked to very many other people that I've worked with in restaurants. I have a select few friends that I've collected over my restaurant years that I feel similarly to how I feel about my Blue Duck family.
We mentioned gallows humor. I don't think there's one person at Blue Duck that's not a fan of that.
No, not a single one. Down to the children. Down to the teenagers that bust tables. Every single one of them is just a little dark. They might not be diagnosed yet. We used to joke that, I think this might have even been before you started, but like, we used to joke that you had to be a little bit mentally ill to work at the Blue Duck or not mentally ill, a little bit neurodivergent to work at the Blue Duck, because if you weren't and you didn't get it, it just wasn't gonna, I
mean, that tracks though.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, I can't imagine that I'm the easiest person to work for, and as just because of the way my brain works, and how scatterbrained I can be at times because of the way my brain works.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that in action.
I can just imagine being an outsider coming into that. Like, if I had the wall space, I would have been writing on the fucking walls, like fucking Rain Man and shit.
Don't forget to. I have to do the exact same thing for myself. If I bring something to the restaurant, or if I like come in early, only eat half my food and leave it, I'm like cussing myself out in notes. I'm like, don't be a stupid bitch and leave your food. You have food in the walk-in, you dumb whore. And I put it in my pocket. That way when I go to clock out, I'm like, oh, I've got food in the walk-in.
Oh, I'm sure some of my passive-aggressive notes are still hanging around there.
Yes. Can confirm. Can confirm. It smells like one of my candles went out, but I don't think they do. So, deviating from that a little bit, you talked about therapy kind of at the beginning of this episode. Tell me about how how long you've been going to therapy, how it's impacted your journey to mental wellness.
So I actually started therapy in 2020, right before the
pandemonium?
Yeah, right before I started seeing my therapist, I want to say in January of 2020. Mm-hmm. So, like, literally right before everything went down.
Yeah.
At first, it was kind of rough. It, as anybody who started therapy can probably attest to, it stirred shit up. And I slid pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I developed a drinking problem in 2020. I absolutely did not develop a drinking problem in 2020. I had a drinking problem from probably the time I was 15. It just came to a head in 2020.
I feel like 2020 brought that out in a lot of people. There was nothing else to do. What else were you gonna do?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so it stirred shit up, and I started drinking more, in addition to being on antidepressants, which
it's not a good combination.
Were different doctors. I should have communicated better with my doctors on certain things. That's kind of on me. Mm-hmm. I also shouldn't have been drinking on those on those pills.
Yeah,
but
that's number one on the list of things.
Like I said, I was kind of a drunk.
It's fine. I can take my pills with this bottle of whiskey. It's good.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, ultimately it came to a head. I had a really bad night, and the next day I decided to quit drinking, and I'm going on 3 years now.
Yes.
In July. But no, I mean, that said, while it did stir shit up, I don't. It's the therapy is not to blame for any of it. That's 100% on me. Like that was my behavior. That was me acting like an asshole. And then that's not AA shit. I didn't do that. I'm not exactly religious.
Same here.
So I'm just gonna put that to bed right now. That's not AA shit. That's me shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just. I overall, I think it's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
I hate to say that such recent what's the word I'm looking for? A brain fart, sorry. Wow. I just got a new job. Recent developments.
Developments? I was going to say developments, but I wasn't sure if that's where you were going.
Holy shit, that was bad. I hate to say it, such recent developments are great, but or empowered, but I mean, no, it empowered me to make the moves that I did, combined with other things as well, obviously, but I honestly, making the career moves that I did, it made a huge, tremendous impact in my life. I always wanted to be a chef, and until I did it, and then and realized that after that, 20 years of this, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it was. Like I just don't want to play anymore. I don't get to cook the way I want to because, and I mean I did. It was my menu. I did get to cook the way I wanted to, but I didn't get to. The difference is I cook at home now. Whatever happens to be fascinating me at that given time, I can just go fucking run with it because I have the time to do that at home.
Yeah.
Like tonight when I get home, I'm gonna make fucking cannabis sugar. They're started.
And that's not something you're gonna get to do in a traditional kitchen.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's. I mean, it's very illegal to do at work. First off, if you're not licensed for it. First off.
True. Yes. But in your own kitchen.
But yeah, like I've got my med card, and doesn't matter.
Yeah, at all. I kind of want to circle back to being a chef and that realization you had when you were kind of over it. How did that come about? What am I trying to say? Let's put these words into a sentence that actually makes sense, Darius.
At least you didn't have a brain fart over the word development. Sit there like an idiot.
That's why we edit. It's all good. How did you come to the realization that you were done being a chef? And how did that realization affect, I guess not necessarily the trajectory of your life, because life is infinitely changing and you never really know what's going to happen next, but who you thought you were and who you want to be in the future?
So I wouldn't even say I'm done being a chef.
Okay.
I'm done with restaurants. That actually the reason I'm starting to mess with cannabis sugar on my own time is I'm working on possibly starting a little edible company in the more distant future. But I want to start playing with ideas now. just because R&D is just fun, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. I'm not a chef by any means, but I love to cook. Right. And I, like, a couple weeks, or on Christmas actually, I made birria tacos. Never did it before, but I love them. I love to eat them. So I'm like, let's try it out and see. Like, a lot of my best recipes, like my pesto alfredo recipe, you can ask Ronnie. It is the best pesto alfredo you'll ever have in your life. Just randomly, like, let's throw some stuff together and see what happens.
That's honestly how the best cooking happens. Mm-hmm. Like, there's, once you learn techniques, it's all just how you feel.
Yeah.
Like, what tastes good together, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And that's also one of the wonderful things about not working in a restaurant anymore. I can cook like that. Yeah. Like, I don't have to worry about writing the recipe down yeah. as I cook, which makes things infinitely harder.
You try to go back and make it, and you're like, now how did I do this?
Then I look at the recipe and I was like, that is not what I did, because that does not taste the same. I wrote something down wrong somewhere.
I have made a grave error, and I don't know how to fix it.
Well, no, I can usually fix it.
Same. Yeah, same. How did not wanting to be a chef in restaurants affect who you thought you were and who you want to be? That's the question we were talking about. Circling back around.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, at first I was worried about it. I mostly just kind of, like I said, I've been doing this for 18 years. Mm-hmm. I've been cooking in restaurants. I started when I was 16. Left from when I was 18 till I was 22. Then immediately went right back.
It's hard to stay out, man.
And then went to school for it, and like, you know, like I've always loved cooking, and that hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. But like I guess kind of messed with my sense of self a little bit was just like I said, that's literally what I've done for 18 years. Mm-hmm. Like, who am I without restaurants? And over a month later, I can tell you I'm happy without restaurants. That's who I am.
Yeah, it's I talk about this all the time. There are restaurant people, and then there are people who work in restaurants.
Yeah.
People like us who are very good at it, who can do it to a point, but it's not the forever thing. And then you have restaurant people who are like, I'm good at this. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And it's hard once you get into restaurants, because I'm coming up on year 11 of being in the front of house. It's somewhere in the middle. You are like, maybe I can do this forever. Like, maybe this is it.
Right.
I've circled back around. No, it's not it.
No, like that's kind of where I was. That's why I went to culinary school, mm-hmm. and then I kept doing it after that, and I still loved it. Like, honestly, I have to say, excuse me, I have to say, pandemic again kind of was the turning point for me. Mm-hmm. When I saw how quickly everything just went away, everything I worked for at that point 15 years, like, everything was just gone overnight. Mm-hmm. My job and the place I worked, they did pay us for a time, but mm-hmm. we were unemployed for a lot longer than that time.
Yep.
And then when I finally can go back to work, the food, the cuisine that I'd been doing, you can't do that. Everything has to go into a box. Mm-hmm. And I guess at some point the industry is changing
a lot,
and it's going to continue changing. And I just at this point, the important thing for me has always been cooking. And I don't get to do. The restaurant industry as a whole is resorting to short order cooks as the norm, and with that being the prevalent. Noma's closing, like all of the
fine dining
places. They're all gone.
Yeah,
they're gonna keep closing too.
Yeah, I feel like a big part of that also has to do with
that's the economy. It's
the economy, but it's also the customer base. I feel like a lot of people, granted, there are people who still want like a traditional dining experience. Hello. They want a traditional dining experience, but I feel more now than ever that people are like willing and ready to, I don't want to say accept something different, but try something different. And of course we love our fine dining, but like you said, the economy, a lot of people cannot afford fine dining. I know I can't afford fine dining.
Right.
But the tradition of it is starting to wear away, I think. From the customer standpoint as well as the industry standpoint.
Well, I think a lot of it, honestly, has more to do, even deeper than that, just with the industry itself.
Yeah.
A big part of it is McDonald's, fast food, that all restaurants have to compete with that, with those prices.
Yeah.
And because of that, restaurant wages have stagnated since the 70s. The pandemic triggered a lot of people to leave and to go and
do
other
something else.
Industries that are new and exciting, such as cannabis and solar power, etc.
Tech and all that stuff.
Whatever other jobs that they can get with skills that they acquired in hospitality, or be it through front of house or back of house.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a lot of people. I talked to my friends, and it was actually funny. One of my best friends, Joey, the day that I made the decision to leave the industry, I called him. Like, Joey, I gotta talk to you. Like, he's been my best friend for a long time. We worked together for a long time. He was my boss for a long time. And I was just like, he was actually one of my investors when I did my pop-up. Like, I did a pop-up in Charleston to go visit him at one point. So yeah, I called him and I was like, Joey, I gotta talk to you, dude. I'm out. Like, I'm leaving the industry. Dude, no shit. I was literally dialing your number to tell you the same fucking thing.
And that is so true. So many people are leaving the industry because, like, I don't say this to sound high and mighty or anything, but like, without the restaurant industry, a lot of people where would they be? And I'm not talking about the people who work in the industry. I'm talking about the people who go to restaurants, who want a dining experience. Where would you be without the people who have been doing this for years?
Right.
And really, it did show through the pandemic how inconsequential it felt like we became.
Right.
And
there are other ways to make money without doing the same thing without ever setting foot in a restaurant.
Yeah.
especially with all these new industries popping up, like cannabis being legalized is going to create so many jobs for cooks.
Yep.
To go make edibles, not only to go make edibles, just to trim, to do whatever. It creates more agriculture jobs. It's going to give a lot of people places to, like, all these new industries are going to give a lot of people that would typically work in restaurants
something else to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us are looking for something else to do. There, like I said, you have your people who are like, this is what I want to do and this is it and I love it. But there's a lot of us, especially after the pandemic, like you said, that are like, yeah, 10, 8, 9, 10 years in, you're like, okay, this is old.
Yeah, and like I said, there's still, like, if there's, from the cooking perspective, if you are still interested in doing something with that, put on a pop-up every now and then in your own house, sell tickets.
Yeah. Line them up on the street, set up a lemonade stand.
You'll make way more money that way and you'll be happier.
I believe that. So, circling kind of back to the conversation on mental health, you talked about medication earlier, and mixing that with your... Now that you're not mixing, how has being medicated affected your kind of worldview?
So, I'm actually... I got off the pills a while back.
Yeah.
I did not like it. For me, it gave me a feeling of I just didn't give a fuck about anything. Like literally just did not give a fuck about anything. And that was part of why I was drinking on it and doing other drugs on it.
Trying to feel something.
Yeah. And for me, it was just not a good thing. I got off pretty quickly. And I've since switched to cannabis. And I use my preferred strain is a sativa, just something to keep me awake, not put me to sleep, and keep me from being so anxious.
I know this from being around friends who partake in the devil's lettuce. I do not partake, but I am a proponent. I absolutely 100% feel like everybody should be able to smoke weed whenever they want to. But I've learned that sativa like keeps you up and makes you more awake and alert, and also helps with creativity.
Typically.
And indica is... What did my friend say? Indica. Yes. Yep, that's it. Yeah. So, when I was younger and my brother and my siblings started to partake in the devil's lettuce, I was much, much younger. I'm the youngest of 4. My eye is being crazy right now, but I don't ever remember hearing about different strains of marijuana and all that stuff. But it seems now more than ever incredibly important. Hold on one second.
It's not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me. My body hates me. My allergy pill's wearing off. What was I saying? I was talking about
strains.
Oh yeah, so it seems like we're back. It seems like now more than ever, the strain is incredibly important to people. How? I assume you have partaken in both sativa and indica, and you like sativa more.
Yes.
How did indica affect your mood? And I know it makes you sleepy and stuff, but like, how did it affect you?
I like both. I like both. I prefer a sativa during the day. I like a good indica to go to sleep, honestly.
Yeah, all my friends keep telling me that I should smoke weed to go to sleep because I do not sleep.
Oh, it really does help. And if you are prone to nightmares, it really helps.
I'm not, but I'll keep that in mind.
Smoking before bed. If you do it enough, it'll keep you from dreaming. or at least remembering your dreams. I don't think it'll actually keep you from dreaming.
See, I want to remember my dreams, but that's a whole other thing, and we can talk about that another time. I like to remember my dreams for various reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, that can get real dark real quick. So.
Get real conspiracy theory up in here.
But I mean, honestly, the reason that's kind of gained importance is just the legalization. Like when we were kids smoking weed in high school and shit, we were getting brick weed from fucking Mexico. It wasn't you weren't getting the buds that you're getting at dispensaries and stuff. Like it was whatever shit you could get your hands on.
That makes.
It tasted about like it too.
It all stinks to me. I hate the smell of it.
See, now I'm glad I showered.
It's one of those things where like I don't like the smell, but it doesn't bother me. Because again, nearly everybody in my life does. Like I'm pretty sure of my very close personal friend group, I only have one or two other friends that don't. And
that seems about right.
Yeah, and especially being in the industry, whenever people find out I don't smoke weed, I don't do drugs, I barely drink anymore. Everybody's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." But I'm more okay because I don't have those things.
See, what my wife always tells me is that she's kind of jealous that I quit drinking because she just never has. Like, she doesn't like it. Mm-hmm. She says, everybody just thinks I'm weird because I don't like to drink.
Yeah, I have a friend who doesn't drink.
And she's like, you at least have the excuse that, I quit because you don't want to know why.
Listen, all she has to do is be like, yeah, I stopped drinking a long time ago. Nobody has to know she doesn't like drinking. Just make up a story. That's fair, honestly. Yeah, just make up a story. Nobody will ever know. No, I have a very good friend. My friend Jazz doesn't drink, and never has, and very similar. Especially he's one of my theater friends. Especially being in the theater industry, a big part of it is like going out and having drinks after shows and all that. And people are always like, "You don't drink? What's wrong with you? Why don't you?" Nothing. I just like to enjoy my time and not be inebriated. I'm sorry. I have a drink every now and then, but I don't know. I don't like it as much. It's not. Now that I'm 30, which is weird to say, but also really exciting to say. Now that I'm 30, even before I turn 30, I'm like, not interested.
Which, by the way, I don't think I actually saw you on your birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
I did text you, I remember. But
you did, yes, and I responded to that one. I was off, so I responded to that one. So, on Mental Health Chat Monday, like I said in the intro, our motto is turning mental illness into mental wellness. So, what does mental wellness look like, sound like? What is your definition of mental wellness?
I honestly don't know how to answer that. I want to say just to be normal. But, what the fuck is normal?
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I was like, well, what is normal?
Like, that's kind of like... I guess that's kind of the struggle with mental health, though, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what is normal? What should I feel? What should I think? I genuinely don't know.
I believe I said last episode, accepting and acknowledging that you're going to kind of live with this thing all the time. This is my personal definition. Acknowledging and accepting that you're going to live with this voice, this whatever in your head, for the rest of your life. It doesn't go away. Even though it feels like it might be gone, it's not gone. But keeping your foot on its neck and being like, I run this shit. That's my definition of mental wellness. And that's like where I am in life right now. I'm like, okay, I do have depression. I do have a little bit of anxiety. I understand these things. I've given it a name and shape. And while I have not conquered it, because that's something that I don't think any amount of medicine or anything will ever really, really achieve. But I do have full control over what it can do to me.
All right. Well, hearing you say that, I would have to say, kind of piggyback on that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But also not at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would have to say just any day that I keep my fucking nose out of a bottle I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah. I love that. I love to hear that. And that's why I asked that question, because the answer is going to be different for everybody. You know, nobody's my mental wellness doesn't look the same as yours. And yours doesn't look the same as anybody that I'm going to interview or anybody that I have interviewed.
Right.
And I think that's the beauty of life and the beauty of this series and what this is supposed to be, is to kind of highlight, you know, yes, we are all, you know, kind of suffering and not suffering, but experiencing this very similar thing. And there's community in that, but it also, you know, we are all different and we all handle it differently, and maybe the way you handle it might help somebody who is handling it differently. So I appreciate you saying that.
That's fair. No, I that's something my grandpa said regarding addiction. He was talking more specifically about cigarette addiction, mm-hmm. to be fair. But it applies to, honestly, it just applies to pretty much all addiction. Yeah. You never really quit. You take a break. Some breaks are longer than others. Mm-hmm. And you gotta fight to take those breaks. And I mean, there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Like you do. And that goes the same for not in any kind of mental health mm-hmm. issue. You have to fight for it.
Yeah, you do.
And you have to fight for it every day, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's shit, just getting out of bed some days is a fucking fight.
Yeah. Yes, it really is. And
and people don't say that enough. Whatever your fight is that on any given day, just fight, and that's enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That. Oof. I think that's gonna be the name of this episode. Ooh. All right. This is my last question, or whatever you want to call it. Leave us with a little piece of advice for. It's weird now that I've done a couple of these, and I've kind of said that there's, you know, not people who aren't mentally ill, but I feel like there might be people out there who don't suffer, whatever. But leave us with a piece of advice for someone who is not mentally ill or not actively healing from some type of mental illness or trauma. Leave us with an advice on how they can be in our corner and how they can support us.
Just listen. Shut the fuck up and listen.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah. You know, everybody that I've interviewed has said the exact same thing. That is the one thing that has been a kind of a through line. Listen.
No, it's like, even me, I'm guilty of it too. Like I've come across, I'm sure I've done it to you. Well, what's wrong? I just said I don't want to fucking talk about it. Leave me the fuck alone. Uh-huh. Yeah. Like even I'm guilty of trying to push and not listening. Like we all need the reminder. Just shut up and listen.
Yeah. And even if that means you're not going to get more than I'm not okay. Like, listen to that hard stop.
Right.
Come back in a couple weeks.
Right. Like, that's all you can do is listen. Mm-hmm. And if somebody wants to open up to you beyond that, they will.
Beautiful. Phil, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. I'm real. I exist. If you have anything you want to plug, any social media or in any upcoming anything like that, you can do that now. Or
I mean, just keep watching DDare's videos.
Stop it. Thank you for that, genuinely, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of Mental Health Chat Monday. We will see you next week with a brand new guest. See, I did my intro good, but my outro is going to be fucked up. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Mental Health Chat Monday. Again, I am DDare Bionic. If you want to find any of my social media, you can hit the links down below. Everything is down there for you. I'm at DDare Bionic on literally everything. It's called branding. Look it up. I will see you all next week with a brand new guest. Thank you so much. Bye.